slip bobber is being toyed with. There it is. It's almost like the 4th of July already. Seems to be the sweet spot to work. Slip bobber's down. It gets a little frustrating sometimes. Bobber down. Bobber down. That bad is the right fish. Gorgeous. What's up, fisher people? We got another super calm day. The day after fishing with Dylan. And the water temps here are cold. But we did just get a walleye on the jig. So that's something. It is 52 degrees in this spot that I'm fishing, which is not warm. And this is a tagged walleye. Huh. Tagged walleye. Six, 7, 6, 5, 8. I better measure that. 6, 7, 6, 5, 8. 16 and a half inches. 6, 7, 6, 5, 8. Cold water. I'm doing two things. I'm working the jig and a minnow. I got a slip bobber out. Partly because flat, calm, and cold water, the slip bobber might be a good tactic, but also because I'm gonna be in Devil's Lake in a few days. And I think we're gonna want some slip bobbers going to Devil's Lake. So, you can also tell it's a weekend and it's a nice day because there's a million boats out here. This is the first really busy day I've seen. And after netting that fish, I don't know how many of those are coming in here to fish by me or not. Hopefully they didn't notice. But anyway, try the jigs, try the slip bobbers. Prepare for Devil's Lake, try to catch some fish today. We'll see what happens. Back-to-back casts. Try to keep it quiet and subtle. I think there's a lot of boats moving for a couple of reasons. One, it's only 9:40. I think a lot of people are just arriving to their spots. But also, two, I'm suspecting people are not catching fish everywhere. So they're doing a lot of moving already to try to find fish. As cold and as calm and as sunny as it is, I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of areas that are dead water today. I happen to get lucky and catch a couple quick ones on my first spot. I don't know how long it'll last, we'll see, but bobber down. Bobber down. It's almost like the 4th of July already. Oh, that one got off. Shoot. They've been kind of smaller fish so far, which often happens as well when you get flat, calm conditions. I find that bigger fish bite a little better with the wind, and they seem to be more affected by fronts and stuff like that. So when we had that crap weather come by, the little fish usually started going sooner than the big fish. The big fish, instead of the next day or two, it might be like 3 days out before you start to get more of them hitting again. We'll catch the little ones as long as we can and hope we get a couple of big ones in the mix later in the day. We'll see. We got fish on the side scan. That's always nice. Bobber's down. Bobber's down. Fish on. Fish on. White bass. White bass and walleyes go hand in hand this time of year, remember that. Caught 2 walleyes, caught a white bass. And I'm fishing what amounts to being an island right now. A lot of times it's a sunken island, but with the water levels down, it's above water. But around it, like there's a really steep break on the front of it. And then the sides of it are very flat with a lot of flooded timber. Sand flats, gravelly timber, but kind of near deep water, right? It's got all the fixins of a great early season walleye spot. And obviously we've had 2 in the boat, 1 missed bite and a white bass, so. See if I get a fish here, otherwise I gotta get that slip bobber back out. Get the boat parked in 7-8 feet of water. I've been finding the fish to be in about that depth. I'd like to see them shallower. Maybe they'll go shallower if we get a little breeze and as the water warms up. But I'm kind of casting parallel and working it in 7-8 feet of water the whole way, keeping the slip bobber in 6 to 7. See if the slip bobber gets the shallow fish. The other thing about this island too, like it's not what you would think of as like a big offshore, like I'm not fishing offshore stuff yet. It's basically a peninsula connected to shore, so it's kind of a shore extension. I wouldn't fish an island way out in the middle of the lake yet at this point at all. So, like I said, a lot of times the island's underwater and it's basically just a big point that sticks out. There happens to be a low point between the island and shore, but oh, the bobber's down. But you can't, missed him. But you can't, shoot. That was fast. But you can't really get between there right now. The water's too low. So it's not an offshore island. I'm still fishing shoreline related stuff. Wanted to make that point. Gotta watch my slip bobber. Bobber was down, now it came back up. Something dropped it. Come back. Boy, every time I set the bobber out and try to get my jig going, the bobber disappears. Maybe I should just focus on the slip bobber. Dang. Any toothy evidence? Yeah, that was a walleye. Jeez. Toothy marked like crazy. I'm a little surprised the fish didn't stay with it. I can't believe it dropped it. It's all slack line out there. There's nothing for them to feel, but he gave up on it. Oh, here comes the pontoons now. I gotta watch this bobber like a hawk, man. I wanna work the jig too, but I gotta be quick. I wonder if I should switch that slip bobber minnow. He had a bunch of slashes in him. I guess my question is, oh, there's some bait. My question is whether or not the minnow's still swimming. That's kind of a key thing with the slip bobber. Since it's just sitting there, you want to entice him with some movement. You don't want it to be a dead minnow, necessarily. One more cast and I'll maybe switch my bait. There's your classic walleye tooth slashes here. All on the tail though. Didn't get the head. Minnow's not moving around much. We're gonna trade him out. This is a better fish on the jig. This might be a big one. If it's the right, I don't know. Could be pikey, but it feels walleye-y. That's a hard walleye run. Yeah. Hard to get them on the slip bobbers because they drop it so quickly, but the jigs, it's a different story because you can set the hook immediately when you feel that tick bite. There's another Walter. Best one of the day, maybe 17. That was a wound up fish, holy cow. He put up a fight. There's another Walter on the jig. That's probably the nicest one of the day. It's probably about 18. I didn't want to net it because there's boats right here. Maybe an inch bigger than the last one. We can lose the fish, that's no big deal. Slip bobber down, it's a white bass. It's a white bass. I know at least one walleye took the slip bobber, but that was a white bass. The other one we caught was a white bass. I want to get a walleye on a slip bobber. I want to get some slip bobber confidence. That's what I want to do. I've caught plenty on jigs now already in the first 45 minutes. I want to catch a slip bobber walleye, dang it. Slip bobber down again. I don't think this one's a, oh, it is another white bass. White bass like the slip bobbers. Slip bobber down. Bobber down. It's a smallmouth, I think. Yep. Tank smallmouth. Not my slip bobber walleye I wanted yet. Shoot. I'm determined though. It kind of seems like the fish move through these flats in waves. So it's like, there's two ways to approach it. You can keep trolling through it, moving through it, casting through it, and try to intercept the fish that way. Or if you are slip bobber fishing or even jig fishing, you can just set up on a spot that you think they're gonna keep moving through. It's like I'll go through like a flurry of 3, 4, 5 bites in 15 minutes, and then it'll be quiet for 20 minutes. And then I'll get a new flurry of bites and I'll see them on the screen thick, and then I won't see them on the screen thick. I'm just so determined to get the slip bobber thing, so I'm just gonna plant here until I go too long without getting a bite. And I think this spot, now the wind kind of switched out of the south, it's pushing into here. It should continue to get better, I would think, during the day. You never know though, they might actually leave. It could go either way, but slip bobber fishing the flats is one of those things where it's gonna go in flurry. And you can always try to like motor around, chase down fish, or you can just hunker down and see if they keep coming through. But if you sit too long without seeing fish come through, you're probably gonna wanna move and try a new area probably. So far I've been fortunate that I don't think I've gone more than 8 minutes probably without a bite, so they continue moving through here fairly steadily. Just kind of circling the contours. Still sitting in the same spot I started. I did miss a couple of bites before that last smallmouth on my jig too. They were kind of like bites that just got heavy, and felt the fish move, set the hook, and felt the weight, but just didn't hook up, so that can happen. That's fishing. I don't know, with this, after that front, as cold as the water is, I think it makes more sense to just kind of sit on them, soak a slip bobber, and throw jigs in their face over and over and over again until they bite, as opposed to just moving through it. There might be something to be said today for sticking a bait in their face as long as possible until they give in, until they can't take it anymore. Bobber. Bobber just kind of bouncing. Hasn't taken it under yet, and there's no weight there. They are finicky with that bobber. Holy cow. Pretty soon we'll get out of this finicky fish thing. And I would imagine, like, I'm fishing in an area that's colder than where I was yesterday with Dylan. So those areas today could be really, really good. Tomorrow for sure. This stuff after another 2 days of warm, sunny weather will get better too. But it's taking a long time for things to warm up here. We've still caught fish. It's just, you got to do it a little differently. And they're not biting it super aggressively. They're not hammering quick, snappy plastics and that kind of stuff, you know. That one got that jig in the minnow though. Oh, we got off again. It's about a 17-inch walleye. Like, they're just, when they don't commit that well, you lose a lot of fish because they're not getting the whole bait, and gets all the slip bobbers down. It gets a little frustrating sometimes. Jeepers cripes. That's another white bass. I missed a walleye on the jig, white bass on the slip bobber. So they're here and they will bite. But boy, you really gotta just be patient with them. They want the water to warm up as much as we do. Let's try to land this one, huh? Let's try to keep a fish pinned. I'd like to get one in the boat. He's not hooked very good again. Depends on how darty he is. Oh! He flipped off the jig, but he hung there for a split second. I got him. Oh, just about missed him. Oh, they are not staying on very well today. But we still got it. That is hilarious. Hilarious. See, that last fish, I don't think he ever had the jig or the hook in his mouth. I think he was just hanging onto the tail long enough, and when the net got in the water, he let go, or the minnow broke. And I don't know if maybe I should go to, like, once they hit it, releasing the bail and let them chew on it and swallow it. I don't know. I've seen bites like this before after cold fronts where they just grab it and you know they don't have the whole thing. And then they'll let go and re-grab and let go and re-grab, and you just kind of wait to feel it out until you think they really, really have it. I've still caught plenty today setting the hook immediately on the thump. So it's not that bad, but, oh, that one got off too, gee. Oh. So I don't think the bite's that finicky like it was that day. That's another walleye. But I'm starting to get to the point where I'm considering letting him chew on it. I don't do that very often with jigs, but sometimes that works if they're just not grabbing the whole thing. But I'm feeling a thump. It's not just a heavy weight. I usually do it if it's a heavy weight thing and I don't know if they got it. I'm still feeling the tick. They're just not ticking the whole minnow. They're ticking the back half. They're biting frequently, just not well. See if you get one pitch in the other direction. I saw some on the side imaging. I've been getting most of my fish back here, but there's no reason they can't be over. This side is closer to the steep side where it starts to drop off. So I think this side is gonna be more productive, but so I'm kind of parked right in the corner where steep drop off, flat. Seems to be the sweet spot to work. Look at that, 2 casts in a row, 3 casts in a row technically. It's another walleye. He looks like he's got the hook in his mouth anyway. That's good. That's good. I got a boat cruising around here that's gonna fish this spot now, I'm sure. So they're biting well. They are biting well. It's just hard to land them. As usual with the jig stuff, I'm rocking the Finicky HMG 6.9, sorry. And I got the High Vis Power Pro braid on. I got the fluorocarbon leader. You got the VMC hammerhead jigs as well as the Northland metallic jigs. Links are in the description below if you want to pick up some of that stuff. And if you do, that helps my channel out a little bit too, because I get a little chunk of that. It doesn't affect the price that you pay, but I do get a little kickback from that stuff. So if you do want to pick that up, just know that if you get it through my link, it helps me out a little bit. And if you're gonna get it anyway, you can pay the same price. Bobber down. Bobber down. Be a walleye. Be a walleye. It's not a walleye. It's another, oh, it's a goldeye. Oh, we might be done with slip bobbers now. Yuck. Yuck. Ugh. Ugh. Freaking goldeyes. They can ruin a good day. Another walleye on the jig. I think he's hooked better. He's definitely got the hook in his mouth. Can we lift him in? Yes. I want to get one on the slip bobber so badly though. I really do. Another white bass on the slip bobber. Jeez. You know when people say that fish move deeper After cold fronts, that's true, but everything's relative. So deeper in this case has been like we were catching fish in 2 to 4 to 5 feet. And today I've caught a lot of fish in 6 to 8 feet. They're still pretty shallow. Deeper doesn't necessarily mean 15 or 20. So there's definitely been a shift. I've noticed that movement. They're not tied up on the bank, but they're not that far away. Deeper is a relative concept. That's a bigger walleye. That's a nice walleye. Come on, girl. Don't mess around. Don't mess around. Come on. Stay on. Stay on. Stay on. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's the one I wanted. There's a lot of boats around though, so I'm whispering. That is a gorgeous walleye. We got a good one right there. That's probably 2021. That is the right fish. Yes. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. That one was actually, I'd worked it back to the boat and was just doing it vertically. Dunked it, took it down, stayed on, got caught. Yes. I'm gonna wrap up the video. That was a short 2 hours and 15 minutes of fishing. I'm gonna keep fishing, maybe film something else, but when you're thinking about finicky cold water fish, slow moving jigs and slip bobbers are a good 1-2 combo. I still haven't gotten a walleye on the slip bobber. I know I've had them bite, haven't landed one, but it's a good thing to do. If you liked the video, please hit the button to say so YouTube knows that. And think about subscribing to the channel. And if you want to support the channel further and get some perks and some fishing reports, consider signing up for Patreon. I'd really appreciate it. That'd help me out a lot and help me continue to do these videos as frequently and as well as possible so you get something out of it too. Thanks for watching, fisher people. Can I get one more bite without turning the camera off? 4 in a row. Is 4 in a row too much? It's a slip bobber, twitch. Oh. Slip bobber jig, slip bobber jig. Which one do I pay attention to? Neither.